You're listening to Rep Radio. Our goal is simple. We support, promote, engage, and inspire the arts community by igniting the ghost light that shines on the stages of the up-and-coming, the unsung heroes, the brilliant writers, and the dynamic designers. Our podcast breaks the fourth wall to give you an inside look at the plays and the players. Stay tuned. Rep Radio is on the air. Today on the podcast, CJ Higgins and Quentin J. Alexander stop by to talk about the HumN'Bards production of Nightlight, a virtual Renaissance fair, featured in this year's Philly Theater Week. Here is my interview with HumN'Bards Nightlight. Stay tuned. Welcome to Rep Radio. I'm your host, Darnell Radford, and today I'm in the virtual studio because that is where we live. And so I can see, but you can hear. We're here with HumN'Bards, whose production Nightlife will be a part of Philly Theater Week. And I am about to start this conversation with CJ Higgins and Quentin J. Alexander. So welcome to Rep Radio.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, so happy to be here.
Yeah. CJ, welcome back. It's been a while, and I'm glad to be here with you.
You know, the last time we were marveling at sort of the Rep Radio offices and all of that, but we didn't really get a chance to tour the virtual offices. So it is a real delight being in this space.
Yeah, I've got a little mood lighting. If you could tell, the audience can't see, but yeah, we're in the Rep Radio. This is Studio A. For longtime listeners, but yeah, I've gotten really comfortable in here, even though we haven't quite turned the cameras on for a viewing audience. I'm getting used to this little structure here. But yeah, so here we are in 2021. It's April, and I start every conversation with a look back on the dumpster fire that was 2020. So, so tell us about your 2020. How was 2020 for you as artists, as individuals?
I think it was definitely a time of reevaluation. You know, I can speak for myself, but I've definitely seen other people take a different path, which kind of led us to what the things that we're working on now. I was working at both the Kimmel Center and at Lantern Theater Company when the pandemic hit, and then everything kind of just shut down. And it wasn't I'm pretty new to the theater world, so it's not there were any other opportunities waiting for me. I haven't really made much of a name for myself, so it was well, we're shutting everything down, good luck. Oh, all right.
Apparently this bathroom break's going to be a little longer than we had intended. Mm-hmm. I said earlier on in an interview, I said, so while everyone will be able to get to the restrooms, we do not have a definitive time of when the show will resume.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, as a non-binary person, I feel the theater world at large sort of clings to gendered bathrooms a little bit too much. So
they really do.
Every virtual production I've been to this year, I have felt comfortable using the restrooms because it's my bathroom. Awesome. So that's extremely gender neutral. Mm-hmm. That's as good as it gets.
Well, here's to hoping that when we return to those spaces, that they will look a lot like Interact.
Oh yeah, the Drakes.
Oh yeah,
best
the
bathrooms
Drake,
in
yes.
Philadelphia,
Oh,
hands
yeah.
down.
I know.
I love those bathrooms. I got the chance to like work on a couple of productions that were in that space, and I was like, oh, this is awesome, actually.
Yeah.
It's
You're
way
like, yeah,
better
but
than
what about the show? You're like, those bathrooms were
The show was
amazing. I
fine.
mean, top notch. Are we giving awards for best bathrooms, best restroom facilities in a public space? Because yes,
honestly.
well thought out.
I think the Drake the building the Drake should get a Barrymore Award for best bathrooms.
I agree.
Best inclusive facilities.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Easy to clean too.
Very
Yeah.
clean. It feels a little luxurious, you know?
Yeah.
Like you get your own room.
Yeah.
It's great.
I know this interview is not about bathrooms, but I will talk about another bathroom that I was marveled by. There is there's a restaurant called Devil's Alley.
Oh, I haven't
been. It's on Chestnut Street, and it's downstairs. And Devil's Alley has this very like grungy kind of tattoo moms sort of feel to it, and downstairs it had a common basin, so that everyone could wash their hands. And I was like, this.
I love
Everybody needs to embody this. Like, I don't understand. Why do you need so many sinks? You could just have one big sink and then everybody's good to go. So whenever I see that in spaces, I'm spending an unreasonable amount of time just marveling about how they've taken care of us from a facilities perspective.
It's a communal cleansing.
Gendered bathrooms are just a scam to sell more sinks.
Thank you. Finally, somebody fucking said it's big toilet trying to sell us more shit. It's capitalism all over again.
Awesome. I was gonna say big sink, but I like big toilet.
It goes all the way down.
Goes all the way to the bottom.
Out to the oceans.
Oh my god. So when I sent an email, it was kind of interesting because there was a conversation that the Inquirer had at the same time that I had sent out my email saying Rep Radio is always looking for conversations to have. And so when this came out, so when you responded about nightlife, I thought about it and I was like, I love the Renaissance Fair, and I thought I was going to miss it because of the pandemic. It turns out the Renaissance Fair just was delayed a little bit, and it almost felt pretty much the same, only we were walking around in masks. So I mean, they had a shorter amount of time, but all of that energy was still pretty much there. So I was glad they were already outside so that they were able to continue doing that. But the idea of a virtual Renaissance Fair, it sounds so fun. And if you have not, submitted for funding to do this for years and years on end, you should definitely get on that, because I think I think the concept alone is like, okay, I'm sold. What do you need, and how do you pull this off, and how do you continue this to keep going? So tell us where this idea came from and how you are planning it.
Sure. So this started back at the start of the pandemic. I was doing a daily Facebook live stream called 4 p.m. with CJ Higgins. And during one of them, I was bemoaning the fact that I was not going to be able to go to a physical Renaissance fair, like any of them that year, because I love attending Ren fairs. And Quentin, I said something like, I just want to like force all my friends into a Zoom chat and have us all wear Ren fair costumes and drink together and just like hang out. And Quentin commented like, oh my gosh, I've had an idea for a digital Renaissance fair. Let's chat. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Let's chat. And then they pitched something so amazing that I was like, that's way better than my idea. Let's do yours instead. So
yeah, like we just like started talking about, having, because we have like friends that are like all like in like the performing arts, like whether it's like drag or burlesque, stage combat, clowning, like, we know a lot of people with like a lot of different talents and everything like that. It's like, why don't we just like send out some like casting for that, see who like responds, and we'll put this together. And the turnout was really great. Like, you know, as far as like performers that signed up for it, as well as like the audience, like was great.
So, were there specifics that you were looking for in terms of submissions? I mean, did you have a general vision in mind? Was it like queer centric, or was it generally open, or what was your thought at first, and what did you end up getting?
Our definition, and we always say this like during the application process and like the creation of acts and all that, our definition of what makes something Renaissance is extremely flexible.
It's pretty loose. Like I always think of it as anything that is pre-industrial. Like so yeah, you can go like as far as like, because like pirates, there are like the 1700s, which is like after the Renaissance fair, but they're okay. You know, you can still do pirates.
I mean, it's about as loose as what you'd see at a typical Renaissance fair. Like everybody who's like attending those aren't showing up in like period accurate garb. Like they're showing up in kilts. They're showing up with like every different type of sword. Some show up in steampunk. Like it truly is all over the place.
Yeah.
So we keep it open in regards to show us what you got, and we'll see if it's a good fit for the production, and we'll like try to like build a final product from there. We don't make it like specifically like you have to be queer to submit, or you have to like fit this particular demographic to submit. It just happens like that.
It just happens. It's like, because like I think that, you know, as well as like the broad definition of what makes something Renaissance fair, you know, it's not like such a like Eurocentric cis het, you know, view of the Renaissance fair, which is what a lot of Renaissance fairs are kind of like. It's usually you know, Elizabethan England, everyone's a lord or a lady, that's it. And we wanted to do something a little something more, you know.
The sheer amount of times I've gotten misgendered at a physical Renaissance fair, like, good Lord, no pun intended. But yeah, fully agree. They really have a tendency to have a very specific view of what the Renaissance fair is. And I find that some of the favorite exhibits at physical Ren fairs are ones that are not ones that I see and not ones that I expect. So why not bring that to the digital space? We have access to literally anybody who can record their act. Like, why the fuck not?
I was surprised at how, I mean, maybe it's over the past few years of going to Ren Fair. To be honest, I've only experienced the Ren Fair up in Lebanon, which if anybody's gone to one, is probably been the one that's about an hour and a half away.
Yeah, it's the big one.
But I was surprised at how inclusive it felt.
Mm-hmm.
It did feel very inclusive. I don't know what I thought before. I have always had nerdy friends. I have always had friends who played D&D, and I would hover above them going, I don't get this, but I was there, you know?
Yeah.
So, it was like, this was my tribe, but for whatever reason, I hadn't made it to the Ren Fair until about 5 years ago. And then when I got there, I was just like, not what I expected at all. Like, just waiting in line. If you get there when it opens, that's everybody, you know, families, individuals, couples, you know, and everybody's in costumes, but it's all nerds. So it's kind of like one of those places where, you know, where I sort of feel like in a theater, you could drop your wallet in a theater and your wallet will most likely be returned to you. And I kind of feel like that at the Ren Fair too. It's like, it just doesn't attract that kind of person. That's just going to be like, you know, the people that you don't want to be around. So just waiting in line, I was just like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I remember being in line with a female presenting person who just nerded out about the previous experience. and how they were looking forward to this experience. And that in itself was just like, I'm at ease now. I don't know what I thought before, but thank you for being, for feeling so at home here that you made me feel at home. And we're not even inside yet. So
Yeah.
I thought that energy and that experience has always been great.
I feel that the energy at both the in-person Renaissance Fair and the digital Renaissance Fair is, we have all collectively decided as nerdy/geeky people that we are not too cool to enjoy this right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that sounds a lot like my experience. Like when I first started going to Renaissance fairs, it was like, I think, I was like in my early 20s, and like a friend of mine was going to go to the Renaissance fair. I just like hit him up, like just out of nowhere, like, hey, what are you up to this weekend? And he says, I'm going to the Renaissance fair. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, Renaissance fair? Like, I mean, I think I went there when I was like a little kid, but like, yeah, sure, why not? And then he shows up at my house, like in like full costume, like, with like a knight's like tabard and like boots and a sword and everything like that. And I was like, wait, people people that don't, work there like dress up? And it's like, yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me run in and put something on. So like I just like threw together like an outfit real quick. Like I had like a martial arts gi. I threw that on with some pants and some boots, and I had like a couple of swords because I've always been a little sword boy. And I just like threw that on my hip, and we just like went, and I was like, this is really cool. Like I feel like I had like way more fun as an adult than as a kid.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, it is period. So the fact that it's period makes it all feel nostalgic. So you just, even though you are an adult in the space, you do kind of embody that nostalgia of like being young. And you're thinking about all the good times of when you were young, even though you probably wouldn't have been able to be here the way you are as an adult.
Yeah.
It's all the fun of being young with the money to impulse buy a sword.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, exactly. Disposable income.
Exactly.
So I will say I passed several of those weapon shops, and I was so tempted to buy a Keyblade. So if you are familiar with Kingdom Hearts, this Keyblade, which I'm going to show you, which I got one.
Yes. The siren song of the Keyblade has tried to lure me in every day Ren Fair, and someday they're going to get me. I know it. I feel next time I feel safe going there, I'm going to finally buy a fucking Keyblade.
Well, the funny thing is they have so many of them. They have a lot of wooden ones. And so I wasn't sure if I wanted the wooden one. And then I ended up getting this metal one, and it actually has a Mickey Mouse kind of emblem on the chain. And I was like, I have to get this. And I kept telling my best friend that I wanted one, and I never got it because at the Ren Fair, it costs so much money. But it turns out that we ended up going to Comic-Con, the Philadelphia Comic-Con, and we found it there for like $20 less.
Oh,
and I grabbed it. Yeah, so so he got it for me, and I was like, "You are my best friend. You are my best friend." But yeah, I always think about bringing it with me, but it's like, I don't know if I want to carry it. Like maybe I should get a thing so I could wear it on my back, and then it's a to do. But they also have so many themed days too, so where it actually makes sense to go.
And like one thing oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that I do like about Renaissance fairs is that there's so many like craftspeople like there in house. So like if you do come there with like a sword and you're like worried about like how am I going to carry this, you can just go to the leather shop and like they'll make you something to be able to like carry it throughout the day.
Yeah. definitely. Oh, yeah, that's right. You know what?
Mhm.
I'll have to think about that this
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
now.
Go see what they could
Have
do
them
with Mickey
yeah.
Mouse's favorite weapon.
Mhm.
I need a holster for this.
Yeah.
Ah, ooh, ah. Could you turn that light down, please, sir? I'm interested to know, what was your position on virtual theater before all of this began? How comfortable were you in the space, and how comfortable were you in the space then, and how comfortable are you in it now? Thinking like pre-pandemic, we're in the midst of pandemic.
I didn't do a lot of virtual work pre-pandemic. It was not as much in the zeitgeist. But once the pandemic started and it seemed that much more theater would be moving into the virtual space, I did find that my experience in podcasting, my experience in like it's silly, but like I used to like make videos with my friends in high school, like goofy little videos, and those have like that experience actually has really helped me in the virtual space, because like I have a bit more of a headway in terms of like what how do I make this look good with what little I have. And my partner has been super helpful because he is much more tech savvy than I am. So like he has let me know like what sort of supplies I should be getting in order to like make my internet better, or like make like he got me a ring light stand and all that. Yeah. But personally, as a New Jersey resident, I'm having a real hoot in the virtual space, since it means that I don't have to commute so long to get to auditions and stuff. If I do an audition in the virtual space, I like show up at my computer 5 minutes beforehand, I do the audition, and then I'm done. And then I go back to my couch.
Yeah.
That's it. I love that.
I think it's also fun to kind of play around with. You get to be a tech nerd too, because once you start, let's say you start with your laptop, and your laptop's camera is okay, but it's not the best in the world. And then you start researching and you find out, oh, it's about lighting, because even though the room is fine for my eyes and, you know, sitting here, but I need more light. And then so you start getting more light, and then you realize your camera's not that bad, but then you're like, but I want a different angle. So then you start buying a bunch of things. Next thing you know, you have way too much, because behind me I have a green screen that I haven't used yet.
Oh, I got a green screen. Me and my wife set up like a green screen. Let's see if I can do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
for the listener, Quentin's wall is covered in a green screen.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one thing that we invested in.
I think for these interviews, I should just I should have another voice, or just muffle my voice as if I was the stage manager calling a cue. And it's like, we're gonna go on cue 3. Cue 3, go. Oh yeah, they just called it cue. But yeah, it's been kind of fun to pull all this stuff together, and through the theatrical experiences I've been fortunate enough to experience over the year, I've been seeing ways of doing things that I just hadn't really thought of. I think before this we were like, oh well, I mean, we kind of recorded the production, and I mean, for archival purposes, but now we're getting the okay to put it out there into the world. But then people started thinking, it was like, you know what? If we want to have a tight on that face, we can use an iPhone. You know, we can use that camera to actually be intimate, you know, because this screen is different. We're not capturing a proscenium, you know, per se. We're in a totally, this lens is different. So it is still theater because of all that thought process is there, but it's not we're filming a stage, you know, and that's it, you know, as if we were just somebody who is, you know, up in the booth. You know, we're actually thinking about like, how do we get them as close to the action as they may not have been able to do in the theater. And then I think that allows for a totally different kind of experience. You know, I'd love to see in the future, there is a ticket you can buy for a live experience, but there's also a virtual experience. And maybe you get to see both of them so that you can experience what the virtual experience is like.
Yeah.
And I also like the idea of being able to communicate with the audience, in the virtual space, because if there's a chat attached and you can comment and do all these things you wouldn't be able to do in the theater because we're all trying to focus on what's going on in front of us.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, I think that the pandemic has shown a lot of industries, including the theater industry, how accessible this could have been all along.
Yeah.
My spicy hot theater take during the pandemic, particularly, is that the theater industry is sort of sliding itself by saying that we can only be experienced in person.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if the art is not seen in person, that does not make it no art. Like, if you looked at the Mona Lisa on Google, then you're still experiencing art. You didn't have to go to Paris, to the Louvre, to finally experience art, to experience the Mona Lisa. Like, you still got it. I know there's licensing issues that come with like recording and distributing productions as a result of that sort of stubbornness, but I personally feel like that should be a bit more free to keep like more of a financial and physical accessibility to theater. Like, I don't want somebody to never see my show at all just because they couldn't physically get up to like the second floor because so many venues in Philly aren't wheelchair accessible, or because they couldn't afford the $25 ticket.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like every festival should be a global festival now, because now you can reach a global audience. Yeah. I mean, that's not to say that the live experience is not something we want that as well, but there's something different that we could bring to this. And I feel that statement where it does feel like we kind of shot ourselves in the foot by talking about, like, you just haven't experienced theater unless it's live. Like, anything can happen. And so we are still doing it live in this virtual space. There's an opportunity to say, okay, well, our opening night is going to be live and the rest of it is going to be canned, so that if you miss the live experience, we've got it canned for the next couple of weeks, and you can do it, or just continue doing it live and still have that whole experience. I saw a production last night where they were engaging with us the whole time, and the artist was actually seeing all of us in our various windows and making comments about the various things we were wearing or the things we were doing. And I was like, oh my God, I feel seen. And it was such a good thing because, and then it sort of reminds me of like when Patti LuPone stopped the show because somebody was on the phone in the theater. And how that was like such a big deal. But now if we're creative about it, we can pull the audience in. There's audience participation without the audience feeling on the spot to participate. And we're all creative people. So of course we can figure this out. It wasn't anything we were just so lost on, but I think since the wheels are moving in these spaces that have brick and mortar they have to sustain, they're sitting there saying like, no, there's no other way we can do it, because we need you to physically come to this space in order for us to pay for this space.
It just creates an unnecessary scarcity. Like, if you're like, okay, if you say, okay, the show is only running 3 days, like one weekend, it's done. How many times have we had like a loved one be like, oh, are you still doing that show? And you're like, no, it closed last weekend. And they're like, oh, no, I wanted to see it. Now they're not going to. That person wasn't going to come see the show because there was a scarcity. They just wanted to see the show.
Yeah.
And now they don't get to, and you don't get their money. Film your shows.
What have you been focusing on in this year what have you learned that you'll carry, that that you're going to carry into the future of your work? What have you learned in 2020 that you know will carry with you in the future of your work?
There's so many. There's so many things I don't even know
Yeah.
how to succinctly summarize. I mean, like this, like even outside of the industry, which affected within the industry, this year was a huge one in terms of like challenging white supremacy in the field and like challenging like how the theater industry has to be and all of that. So like there are so many different lessons from that like this is the time to implement it. The first good time was when it started. The second good time is right now. So like there's all of that. There's again like the accessibility lessons and stuff like that. Like nightlife, like as we have gone on, has learned accessibility stuff. Like this round, we're gonna have closed captioning in as much of the show as we can because we got audience feedback that would help to make the show more accessible to hard of hearing folks. So we're doing that. There's just so many things. God, Quentin, you take some. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
I'm sorry. I know that one's kind of deep.
It's kind of tough because like we're still in it. Like there's no there's no time to like look back because we're still constantly like learning as we're going. And like how to make like our productions more accessible, how to make them more inclusive. Yeah, like we're still in the present time. Yeah, I don't know if that was a real answer or not, but
no, I hear you. Well, I love the fact that technology has sort of caught up to this, you know, our needs for accessibility and inclusivity as well. Like, you know, the ability to turn on any of these virtual meeting spaces and enable closed captioning. That's something that we have now. We didn't always have, you know, and it wasn't something we were necessarily thinking of before, but now it's like, it's commonplace. And I was also thinking about how, you know, we're over here exploring we're adding these new things to the work that we create. But then you've got like gamers and YouTubers and live streamers who have been doing this for years. And they're sitting over here looking at us like,
welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. Came around, huh?
Yeah, I personally, I have a auditory processing disorder, which can make it a little tough at in-person performances at times. Like there have been shows where like I just could not hear anything a person was saying, and I was like, well, that's the show for me. That's the ball game. But there was one virtual production where I realized that the production did not have closed captioning and I was having a hard time following what the actors were saying. So I pulled up the script on my phone and just followed along from there.
Oh, wow.
And I want to be able to do that in person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
At least like, you know, cell phones are like so taboo in the theater space, which like, yes, I fully understand why that's the case. But also, you know, that does also create accessibility issues at times.
Yeah.
I definitely remember way early on, you know, as I was coming up with play ideas, and I was like, you know, I want to write something where I say in the curtain speech, at this time, please take out your phones, you know, and use the hashtag, you know, do it now. Let people know that you're here, you know. I wanted to encourage that before, but it was always like, you know, there is this expectation of a live theater goer that it was really hard to, I mean, new people to theater might just embrace this like altogether, like, oh, okay, I thought I'm gonna have to sit prim and proper, I was gonna have to dress up and everything, and I wasn't gonna be able to move too much, and I'll forget about my candy and I'll have to get that and very quietly try to open it, and now it's like, well, I'm halfway through making dinner, it's in the oven, and I'm watching the show, and we don't feel like we're missing anything at all. You know, so again, it doesn't replace live theater, but for some reason we thought that we couldn't experience theater any other way. And you know, I'm glad that this and this is just like any other thing, you know, the premise of any sort of production or any kind of play where our characters are trapped in a box and they have to exist in that space for whatever period of time this play is. So it's sort of the same thing for us. Like, we're trapped in a box, which is our homes or wherever we are experiencing this. And we're trying to experience this while life is happening in and around us. So somebody might be on their headphones, with noise canceling,
Yeah.
processing this, sitting amongst other people who are doing other things. Or you might beam it to your television if you have that capability. And you're just like, wow, I'm walking in and out of this space. I had to run to the restroom or back to the kitchen for another snack. And you're not missing a beat anymore. So nightlife, the event as a whole, how many offerings will make up nightlife altogether? Have you figured that out yet with the submissions?
Yeah, we just like we've already announced the cast. Oh yeah, one thing we did not mention before is that the event is set up in two parts. The first being the Artisan Hour, where we have about five different artists come and talk about their work, the crafts that they make, whether it's we have people that make candles or resin art. When we were planning the initial fair, one element that I really thought that we should have is that that sort of like being able to look at the different wares that are being sold, or like the different craftspeople that are at the Renaissance Fair, whether they they're glass blowing or they're doing leather work, and I wanted to bring that into the experience as well. So like the first the first hour or two of the event will be the Artisan Hour, where we have five different artists talk about products that they make, where they can be found, and we usually do have a raffle, and the proceeds this time are going to go to the Black Theater Alliance of Philadelphia.
Okay.
So the artisans will offer up one or two items that you can bid on, along with your fellow audience members, and it's another way to get the audience involved in what's going on. Yeah, so we'll have the raffle, and then after the Artisan Hour or 2 hours is done, then we go into the performance, the nightlife performance segment, and we have about 20
about 20.
20 performances from all different genre of performance.
Yeah,
That's
we
exciting.
got like the stuff you'd usually see in the theater, like drag musicians, dancers, all that. We've also got like nightlife, like burlesque and all of that. And we've also got like fire dancers and clowns. Like this, I don't want to sound like a cliche, but this is an incredibly unique event.
It really is.
You're not going to see this in most other, if not any other virtual theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
you'll see a wide variety of different performances, and like doing it virtually, like we were talking about like accessibility and everything, but like one thing that we've noticed when we send out like our casting is that we get acts from all over the globe. I think like last time we had somebody that was like a burlesque dancer in Scotland, and they sent in like a video.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were awesome.
Yeah, they were really cool.
That's great. And that whole spirit, we've always embodied that, but we had to keep it local for, limitations. But I love the fact that now we can actually reach all over the place, anywhere your internet connection will allow you to get to.
Yeah,
exactly.
So when I think about putting on an event, a virtual event, that's I go back to the tech, because that always makes me nervous, because it makes me nervous in person too. Like anything can and possibly go wrong. But how do you ensure that all of that goes off without a hitch?
I'll let you take this one, CJ.
Yeah, I sort of serve as the editor slash stage manager for this production. So for the performance hour, we pre-record our like hosting segments and would like intersperse that with the acts, just so it has like a consistent a consistent flow between them. Sometimes with, and you know, one of the cons of virtual theater, I don't want to say it's all pros. One of the cons is that like if it's like live in the middle of it, you might have somebody who's like, oh wait, shoot, the video's not playing. Hold on. So sort of try to avoid that using that pre-recording. We also use a service called StreamYard, which if you are looking to produce virtual content, I have personally found StreamYard incredibly useful. I'm not sponsored by them. I just have a lot of feelings. There's a free version and there's also a pro version. And it helps us it helps us sort of like control who's on the screen at any given moment and like how big their screen is as opposed to like the other screens and all that. And lets us put our logo on there real fancy. I usually have 2 laptops running at the same time, just so like if one fails, I can quick go on to the other, or like I can manage the chat while the other one's running or stuff like that. We've had it happen where I don't want to name any names of social media services, but Facebook.com has a tendency to stop our stream when they hear a certain amount. I will call on Mark Zuckerberg himself for ruining virtual programming at a time where it is necessary for our survival.
Exactly.
What the fuck is your fucking problem?
Facebook is no longer a sponsor of Rep Radio. Not that they ever were. Sorry,
Good.
Facebook. I'm sorry.
Abolish capitalism. Anyway, so after a certain amount of copyrighted music, they have a tendency to interrupt our stream. At that time, we'll get back online as fast as possible. And we also have Quentin's wife, Patty Listoned, to thank for a lot of tech backup as well. She helps to run. She mostly runs the logistics of like the raffle in terms of the payments and all of that. And if there is a technical problem, then she's right on it and will be like, hey, everybody, watch out for the other stream and all that. So I can focus on like getting our shit together. I'm doing a really great job of being the director of communications for HumN'Bards, cursing this entire time and yelling at Mark Zuckerberg. In any case, I think I'm representing us really well.
Words. You're communicating.
Done. And I directed
generalize that for your resume.
Yeah, so and I've got like Ethernet cables connected to all my stuff, so it's not just depending on like the Wi-Fi signals reaching me in the office. And then my partner will go get me pizza because usually I've had a very long day.
Like pizza me, and
that counts as technical support, honestly. Making sure that I have pizza in my hands is incredibly important.
See, one of the perks to virtual theater, easy access to craft services.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not like you gotta wait until intermission, you know?
I think that should be a selling point. You know, when we're looking for artists to get involved in our virtual theatrical events. Oh, we have a craft services, and I'll take care of you.
Yes.
So how have you passed the time during this extended intermission? Besides planning this, what other things have you done to pass the time?
I mean, I got like a new job because I kind of had to.
You know, to pass the time.
Yeah, and it's actually turning out pretty well. Like it's in public benefits. I sign people up for, you know, food stamps like SNAP like all day, and that's been pretty satisfactory work, is just helping people out in a time where they really need those types of public benefits and services.
Yeah.
I personally picked up a few hobbies. I hula hoop and roller skate now. I super casually got top surgery during this time because I was like, this is a time I know that I don't need to call out of work and I don't need to plan my performance schedule around it. So I like, my philosophy was I'm already sitting on the couch, so I might as well be sitting on the couch recovering.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mostly been that. I have done some SP work every once in a while. And I do script evaluations for, I'm on the script committee at Interact. So a lot of reading new works. So I'm keeping that theater. Also sometimes I am in shows. It's going back to like what we've learned during the quarantine, and not to be cheesy, but like before the quarantine, I was extremely like book show after show after show after show, make sure I'm staying busy at all times, constantly like chasing the like gotta get booked, and like it's obviously still important for me to work. Like that is like being in theater still is like such a huge part of my life and my heart. But this has given me a lot of space to like make sure that I'm prioritizing my personal health and make sure that I'm prioritizing my loved ones and my family. So there's been a lot of stuff where like there'll be virtual gigs that are open, and instead of being like, oh, I got to make sure I apply for that so I'll have a job, I'm like, does this bring me joy? If no, could I be seeing my now fully vaccinated family instead? Yes. Fantastic. I'm going to do that instead.
And I hate the word pivot, but I feel like a lot of people had to. But it is sort of an interesting exercise to think about. We used to sort of generalize what we do by just saying, I'm a theater artist. When the theater is not open, you have to figure out what those terms mean in other fields. And it does seem like, this whole situation we're in right now has made a whole lot of people think about how can I help. So the work that you end up doing, the adjustments that you make are towards helping other people get through this as well. And so that's been really interesting to see so many people make the various changes that they've made from entertaining and educating and informing, that they've been doing in theater, to finding a way to use those skills to help in some other way. It's like, I want to make sure, I'm going to help you get the funding that you need to stay in your home. I want to help you get the food that's necessary so that you can survive. And all of those, it's been really great to see that. And I really hope that whoever is considered a gatekeeper in this community, I hope that they are paying attention. We better never be shut down like this ever again. Ever again. This is a lack of poor planning. This is everybody, for some reason, thought everything was going to function. Just functioning. Like we're going to open these doors tomorrow. No big deal. No one had a plan. So this is kind of what happened for quite a few months. And yes, we were waiting for guidance. True. But what happened to the show must go on. There are a lot of theaters who are dark right now, so it was like, okay, you have nothing to say. You have nothing to present. Of course, individual artists, that's different. We are not, an individual artist isn't the organization per se, but the organizations, I hope we are having meaningful conversations about what would happen if something like this doesn't allow us to do what we thought we were going to do again. I hope we have a better plan for this moving forward. So I hope people are paying attention and learning valuable lessons in this.
I hope so too.
I personally have noted, because like on the one hand, it's like the people, whoever the gatekeepers are, the like the institutions and all that and stuff, are still run by people, and we are going through a worldwide trauma together. So like, I fully understand where it's like, okay, every once in a while, maybe we need to like take a step back, give ourselves a minute, and then figure out where we're going to go from there. I personally have, and Quentin, you may be able to attest to this as well. Like, we got a huge amount of applications for Nightlife, like a huge amount, which of course is like the perfect problem to have when you're casting a show.
Was it like 75 submissions this last time?
Yeah. Yep. And our application window was open like a week. And I have noticed in the shows that I do submit for, the virtual ones, all of the casting directors are saying the same thing. Like, there's so many applications. Why is that? It's because all of these actors and all of that are waiting for theater companies to like have jobs available. And then we see so many different, like a lot of like the bigger ones are like, well, let's show the show we did back in 2015, and then we'll have a cabaret featuring the 3 actors we hire for every show. Yeah. It's like we could be using whatever resources we have in order to provide opportunities to like newer faces, emerging artists, people who don't get highlighted as often. And this isn't me saying, hire me. It's me saying, like, maybe if you have this opportunity to hire literally anybody with internet connection on the planet Earth, then do that instead of doing the usual thing you were already doing in person, which was just casting the same 5 people.
Yeah.
A thought. Just a thought.
But seriously, hire CJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't the one to say it.
I mean, if you need to rewind this interview back to where CJ proved the director of communication skills, go back to that. And,
I promise that if you cast me, I'm extremely loud. I will say fuck, and I'm going to do my best to incorporate glitter into my costume design. Thank you.
You had me at glitter.
And that's why you should vote for me.
If you play this radio clip backwards, it's CJ's entire resume. Just play this recording backwards.
Play the recording backward. It's going to be my explanation of why every single character I have ever played is actually gay. Doesn't matter what show it is. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They've all been gay. And they will always be gay.
And it'll be in slow-mo with very deep voice. Hire me.
Which will be a welcome change from my usual hi.
How can our listeners get psyched up and ready for Nightlife? Where do they go? What tickets do they have to buy? How do they unload their wallets in the direction of Nightlife?
Sure. So first of all, I'll say no one will be turned away for lack of funds.
No one.
If it does, like if you genuinely cannot afford it, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
You're here too. So we have some very flexible pricing options. First of all, we are offering pay what you can tickets through Philly Theater Week with their usual pricing structures of like free 15 or 30. We're in the free/pay what you can. So if you go on phillytheaterweek.com and look for Nightlife, the HumN'Bards, you can find those tickets there. And you can pay $0 for them. That option is available. You can also pay $100, and thank you very much if you do.
Yes.
We also have on our company's Ticket Leap. We have tickets on a sliding scale between $10 to $20. That's just like a nice ticket price to like. Anytime I work a pay what you can show, people will be like, "Well, what would you usually pay for a ticket?" That's my answer: $10 to $20. But again, we won't kick you out if you don't pay that. So you could get tickets there. you can find the show itself. It will be streaming on the HumN'Bards Facebook page as well as our YouTube. The Facebook is facebook.com/HumN'Bards, which is spelled HUM as in Mary, N as in Nancy, B as in boy, ARD as in David, S. And from there, you can see our event page where we talk about all of the wonderful ways that you could pay us money, the cast list, the beautiful faces of our cast, and all of that. We'll also be accepting tips throughout the show, but those will be like Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, stuff like that. And you won't be able to escape those handles during the show, so I don't have to give them here. Once you're watching the show, you'll hear it. Don't worry, I will tell you.
That's the other thing about virtual. It is so easy to set up a payment solution now. This used to be a challenge. Like you had to be an entity to have a merchant services, but now you don't need that now. You can sign into any of these apps and immediately accept funds. So I think that's great too. And and those are removing the barriers of entry as well by just making it easier for you to get in the door, like however you decide to do it. Sure. Yeah, so that's great. It's called Nightlife. That's KNIGHTLIFE, the hashtag. Presented by HumN'Bards, and it's part of Philly Theater Week. Quentin, CJ, thank you so much for taking the time to wax Ren Fair and talk about nightlife. This sounds so exciting, and I can't wait to experience this. So I will definitely get my ticket, and I will tune in as well. Is there anything else we need to let people know before we sign off? Should we dress up?
Capitalism.
Yeah, that's a good
Topple
one.
the patriarchy?
Yeah.
Yeah, all those.
Yeah.
Abolish prisons, abolish the police.
Yeah. Just like white supremacy in general, we could probably stand to get rid of that one.
Yeah.
There's a list.
I know. It's another thing about this year, just an endless list of things we need to stop doing.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's our closing statement.
Yeah.
Stop doing them.
Yeah. Also, if this pandemic has taught us anything, the government is useless.
The government is useless.
Unless they're printing money. So, I mean...
Well, see, that goes back to that capitalism thing. We wouldn't need the money if we abolished capitalism.
Exactly. See? So, even though it seemed like a good thing, when it finally came to all of us, it was sort of too late. And,
Late stage, one might say.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so hashtag nightlife, HumN'Bards, get into it. Philly Theater Week coming at you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. This was fun. I had a great time, and I'm going to dress up.
Yeah,
do it.
Nightlife.
If anybody dresses up, send me pictures. I want to look at everybody's pretty outfits.
Oh, we should do like a posting to like have people.
Should we send pictures with the hashtag nightlife?
Your pictures with the hashtag nightlife.
There you go.
I want to look at pretty. I want to look at pretty outfits.
Me too.
Yes. So we will definitely do that. Yes.
Rep Radio is an Emory production. You can find Rep Radio on social media at Rep Radio on Facebook, at Rep_Radio on Instagram and Twitter. For more information, visit us online at em3ry.com. Ride with us. Emory is on the move.